Harold Shipman, Dr. Death. Shipman was a British doctor who is believed to have killed over 200 of his patients between 1975 and 1998. He administered lethal doses of prescription medications, particularly morphine and diamorphine, to his victims, often forging medical records to cover his tracks. Shipman's case shocked the world due to his position of trust as a healthcare professional and the sheer number of his victims. Pedro Alonso López, the monster of the Andes. López is a Colombian serial killer convicted of murdering over 300 young girls across South America during the 1970s. He targeted vulnerable victims, often luring them away from their families with promises of gifts or money, before raping and strangling them. López's crimes went undetected for years, and his arrest in 1980 revealed the extent of his horrific actions. Elizabeth Bathory, the Blood Countess. Bathory was a Hungarian noblewoman infamous for her sadistic acts and alleged involvement in the deaths of hundreds of young women during the late 16th and early 17th centuries. She was accused of torturing and murdering her servants, with some accounts suggesting that she bathed in their blood in a quest for eternal youth. Bathory's trial and subsequent imprisonment have led to her being depicted as one of history's most notorious female serial killers. Ted Bundy, the campus killer. Bundy was an American serial killer and necrophile who confessed to the murders of at least 30 young women in the 1970s, although the actual number of his victims may be higher. He used his charm and charisma to lure his victims before brutally assaulting and murdering them, often engaging in acts of necrophilia afterward. Bundy's intelligence, good looks, and ability to evade capture for years captivated the public and law enforcement agencies alike. John Wayne Gacy, the Killer Clown. Gacy was an American serial killer and rapist who sexually assaulted and murdered at least 33 teenage boys and young men between 1972 and 1978. He would often lure his victims to his home under the guise of offering them work before assaulting and strangling them. Gacy's alter ego as Pogo the Clown for children's parties added a chilling dimension to his crimes, leading to his moniker as the Killer Clown. Jeffrey Dahmer, the Milwaukee Cannibal. Dahmer was an American serial killer and sex offender who murdered and dismembered at least 17 men and boys between 1978 and 1991. He would lure his victims to his apartment, where he would drug them, strangle them to death, and then engage in acts of necrophilia and cannibalism. Dahmer's case shocked the world with the gruesome details of his crimes and raised questions about mental health, law enforcement, and the justice system. Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer. Ridgway is an American serial killer who confessed to murdering 71 women in the state of Washington during the 1980s and 1990s, although he was convicted of 49 killings. He targeted sex workers and vulnerable women, strangling them and dumping their bodies in remote areas, primarily along the Green River. Ridgway's ability to elude law enforcement for decades before his arrest in 2001 made him one of the most prolific and notorious serial killers in U.S. history. Andrei Chikatilo, the Butcher of Rostov. Chikatilo was a Soviet serial killer who murdered and mutilated at least 52 women and children between 1978 and 1990 in the Soviet Union. He would lure his victims to secluded areas before attacking and mutilating them, often cannibalizing parts of their bodies. Chikatilo's crimes terrorized the population and exposed flaws in the Soviet justice system, leading to his eventual capture and execution. Luis Garavito, the Beast. Garavito is a Colombian serial killer and rapist convicted of the murders of at least 138 boys between 1992 and 1999. He targeted vulnerable street children, luring them away with promises of food or money before brutally torturing, raping, and murdering them. Young Xinhai, the Monster Killer. Xinhai was a Chinese serial killer who confessed to murdering 67 people, including men, women, and children, between 1999 and 2003. He would break into homes in rural areas, killing entire families with axes, hammers, and other blunt instruments, often committing acts of sexual assault as well. Xinhai's capture and subsequent execution brought an end to his reign of terror and provided closure to the communities affected by his heinous crimes. Watch this video on the left next and subscribe to History Ranker for more historical top 10 lists.